Well, the big question is, we got it on there, but how are we going to get it off of there? Because it's heavy. Oh, and what is it? G'day everybody, welcome back. So, on the trailer is a lathe. Well done. Excellent. $350 Australian, manufacturer unknown. The problem I have is that we loaded it with a loader and I don't have one at home, so we're going to have to component strip this down until I can physically lift each piece, and we're going to do it on the trailer because then I can keep track of where everything goes and label it all at the end and go from there. But let's have a quick look before I tear it apart. Now, a warning, I am going to get some naming conventions wrong. So this is a flat belt cone pulley drive style lathe. It has a flat bed on the back, and it has a flat bed on the front, except for the very front piece, which has a like a adjustable key. It has a number of boxes of other parts that go with it, and we won't look at those today. What else? Big old carriage with a power feed option at the back to make it go up and down. Threaded screw at the front, not sure what you call that. It's got a keyway cut all the way down it. The carriage does move. I can't get the carriage to move this way. I can get the top slide to move, and this one does move. It's just pretty tight. There is a lot of slop. The drive unit is aftermarket, and let's say homemade aftermarket, as witnessed by the construction methodology. I don't have a problem with it. I'm going to put it back on, but I am going to tidy it up and make it look good. And the other thing is, and it's hard, you won't pick it on the camera, it's about ½ an inch towards the rear. So not really sure how we're going to adjust that yet, but that will be a whole, no, it's a long way from having to work. It does go, the motor does work, and at this end, obviously back gears and sideways gears and open bearings, and yeah, and I don't have a single ID plate on it yet. The torque is, there might be some identification marks here if I can get them, and in theory also down here or on an end, and until we get it cleaned up we're not going to know. So what are we going to do? Well, first off, the big elephant in the room is that's I've got 2 bolts left to do, and that whole assembly will drop down to the back and onto the trailer bed, and it's going to stay like that. Then I'm going to take the front screw assembly off. There's bolts at that end and bolts at that end. Then the rear assembly, bolts there, and then I'm going to see if I can get this assembly off in one piece, which I think I can. I think it's only 4 bolts maybe. This one down here I might have, anyway. And then I'm going to see if I can lift the whole drive head as one piece. So I'm not going to split it at the bearings, I'm going to leave those, but I've got a big bolt here, one at the back, one down there, and one down there. So that's kind of the plan. And then once I get everything off, I'll try and see if I can get the carriage off via the end, or if I have to get really scary and try and pull that apart as it stands. So I'll get the camera on the stand and we'll do some videoing and we'll see how we go. Righto, so about 20 minutes in, half an hour. We already knew there was a repair on this piece, so I'm not phased by that. It did have a couple of shims in it, which we'll keep where they go. We got the front screw off, we got the gears off. I have made a small error of judgment. I should have tried to take the chuck off while I still had all the rotating assembly there. So I'm going to try and see if I can lock that in place and get that chuck off. That chuck probably weighs 15 kilos. Screw looks pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Out the back, I got the back shaft off that had some bolts into the bottom of the carriage, which makes sense because that's how it works. Haven't found any manufacturing marks yet. It's kind of depressing. I really want to know who made this thing. As you saw, got the carriage off in one piece. It wouldn't slide, that's all right, don't ever force it. And then that's why I'm using a small dead blow hammer, not a big one. And the carriage looks pretty good. It's all in one piece. It's a one go it's heavy, right? I can barely lift that. The motor, holy shit, we're going to take that apart to put it back together. And then out the back there's just the control lever for the back, and now I'm going to probably take that off after lunch, and then chuck off, take this end plate off, or I might even try and take the whole gearbox off as one, which is just that bolt there and the two front bolts. So anyway, quick break, then we'll try and get this chuck off. Okay, chuck off, happy days. I've still got to take this lever off. That's just undo this grub screw, and this will come this way and the shaft will go the other way. And then I'm going to take this cover off, and yeah, I'm not sure from there. There's two big bolts at the front. There's a lock stabilizer bolt there, a lock stabilizer bolt there, and a big nut down there, a big bolt down there and a big bolt down there. So I'll get all them loosened off and then we'll see how heavy this bad boy is. Righto, there's a shim at the back and I can't get this bolt undone. Let's see what happens. I'm not winning yet. So I missed taking the head off. Picture in your mind a really heavy thing being lifted by a 9 stone weekly like me. There were 3 shims, a brass one at the drive end and 2 skinny ones at the back end. I also found on the shaft a ball bearing, which I've got to try not to lose. So there's shim 1, shim 2, shim 3. So that's the front, these are the back, and here's a ball bearing, and the spring's under the trailer. I've got to go get it. Now I was going to try and leave this in one piece, but I physically still cannot lift this base, so I'm going to undo that end and then try and do something to either lower it or stand it up to get to this end. So we'll see how that goes. We're never ever going to talk about how this got to here, but let's just say I didn't drop it. My next challenge is to get the 2 bolts out. I think the weight is in this, not this, because this thing's monstrous and it's also full of honeycomb. but I need to work out where the bolts are, which I think is one over there and one in there. So anyway, I'll get this off, and yeah, still no manufacturing marks. Rightio, bed's off, and I gave the top a clean to see if we had any manufacturer's marks in here, and not surprisingly, no. The bed actually looks pretty good. Where the tailstock has sat for a long time, it's a bit average, and we do have some honeycomb to get rid of from inside the base. The base isn't too bad, the end is better, but this bit, holy shit, wow. I mean, I knew it'd be heavy, but it is crazy heavy. And that's all the bits. I'm gonna drive around to the shed now and get the engine crane and get that out with the engine crane, or try to, and then the rest of it can all be just put in there, and we'll start cleaning up to put it back together. I guess we'll start with that bit and that bit. So officially, it's all in the shed, except the base. So we're going to start with them. We're going to clean them up here because they're outside bits. We'll clean them up. For those who are interested, no, I'm not going to paint it, but I am going to wash it and clean it and get it back, and then make that decision probably. Box of parts that came with it, another box of parts that came with it, 4-jaw chuck, door for the bottom on the other side. That's the tailstock, monstrously huge, has been repaired before. Gears off the end. Working our way through the shed, there's the power unit there, wow, heavy. Here's the bed in the middle, keeping the tractor company. And then all the rest of the pieces, the 2 long bits are there. Drive head, carriage, feed screw bit, 3-jaw chuck. And it's going over under that window from about there across. So I obviously need to get out here and do some stuff, because I'm going to rebuild it where it's going to go. So I've got to get the feet clear that space, get it where it's going to go, and then I'll be able to get this bit cleaned up and then engine crane it. Hopefully these tables won't be here, into place, then put the motor on the back so I know it's in the right spot off the wall, and go from there. And that's how it goes. And it's also about 1,000,000 degrees in the shed because summer is coming. So there you go, bought a lathe. No idea who made it, still can't find any manufacturing marks. Will we find any? I don't think so. If you know what it is, tell me. ChatGPT thinks it's got a little bit to do with a Drummond, but I can't find any marks for it either. So anyway, thanks for watching. Over the next couple of months, we'll put it back together. So yeah, ChatGPT says this is specifically a Drummond tailstock. Now, whether it is or not, who knows? There are, funnily enough, no marks on it. The mystery continues.